I aim to motivate and inspire viewers to see the clothes they wear as an expression of their personality and their beliefs. This is the Slow Wardrobe. Come and have a look. Hello, welcome to episode 26 of the Slow Wardrobe podcast. My name is Linda and I am your host. I am starting today's episode with a bit of an update on my knitting. I have a couple of knitting related bits of news to share with you, and then we're straight on to Layercake, where I'm going to be talking about changing the way you wear your Layercake depending on whether you gain or lose some weight. There's a lot of leeway there, so I'll be talking about that. And I am introducing a new version of the step top. I'm wearing the step top in white. This was one of the first samples that we made, so it's got the raw edges that the final version doesn't have, and it's got the knitted sleeves that are an option, but we're adding a second option. I've sneak peeked it on Instagram earlier this week, so some of you may have seen it already. All about that in the Layercake section, but first a little bit about knitting. Now, the first bit that I have to share about knitting is actually knitting in combination with sewn garment again, just like this is. But in this case, it's about a piece of mending. I have a pair of baggies that I've been wearing lots. That is made out of a remnant, a piece of leftover fabric that we had from the herringbone, the very light colored herringbone that we used for the spinning skirts. All of those spinning skirts, I think there may be one left in this fabric. I will list it down here if there is one left. The others are gone. We had some fabric left over, and I asked Andrea to make a pair of baggies, and lo and behold, I managed to get them damaged. This actually happened when I came back from the Netherlands this past week, when I visited my parents and my brother and sister-in-law. We had a fantastic time. It was just a short visit, and then literally 2 days after we came back, they announced this new quarantine self-isolating rule for returning from the Netherlands, so we were out just in time. That was good. But anyway, I was coming back, I came off the plane, and I was on my way on a down escalator to the little train that takes you back to the luggage area. This was all at Heathrow Terminal 5, and right at the bottom of the escalators have this kind of section, flat section right next to the steps that you're on, and underneath that flat, they've all got lids on this section, and underneath it run the chains that end up operating the escalator, and one of those lids was not closed properly. It was sticking out a little bit, and these lids are like 5 or 6 foot long, so it was stuck out a little bit. I was stood to the right of the escalator in case people wanted to pass me quickly, and the bottom pocket of my right leg baggies grabbed that lid. So I realized that there was something stuck with the escalator, and not wanting to run the risk of falling or people behind me falling on top of me, I just pulled my leg back and ripped the pocket. Easily done. We have those pockets because they add swing and shaping to the bottom of the leg. If you don't like them, if you are worried about something like this happening, you can easily close them at the top. Just seam them closed. It'll still work as an extra feature on the trousers, but you won't run the risk of it gaping open. A friend of mine has put a buttonhole in a button. That's another possibility to kind of keep it shut. I like them too much. I will never change them myself. But of course, now I've got a damaged pocket edge, which is looking like this. So I've pinned it shut because the edge of the pocket has literally been ripped out of the side seam. So I've pinned it more or less back in place in its original shaping. And I figured, well, great. Anytime I'm damaging or staining one of my garments these days, I think, oh, opportunity to embellish, as if I need an excuse. But anyway, that's how I tick. And then I came up with the idea of, instead of putting woven batches of, patches of fabric on, I thought I can knit a little patch out of linen. So what I've done so far is I've taken some of the linen yarn and I've knitted 2 little patches that on 2¼ needle that are 15 stitches wide and, I don't know, probably about 25 to 30 rows high. One in the new ochre color and the other one in undyed. Because I wanted to, on the one hand, I like the idea of a pop of color, but I didn't want to stray away too far from the kind of color impression that these make, because I want to wear them with lots of different colors, of course. So then what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to stagger them like one behind the other like this, and then put them on the area that is damaged. It's going to be something like that. I hope you can see that. I'll do a close-up and I'll take a proper photograph of what the end result is going to look like. So I'm excited about that. I'll show you how that goes. And then that gave me an idea about using the linen yarns for little patches, for embellishment and repair, etc., on layer cakes in general. So I'm working on the idea of creating a series of tiny little mini hanks. I can weigh these to see how much yarn is in them and make sure that I do mini hanks, like tiny mini hanks, like 5 grams or something, that are big enough to knit a couple of patches of, and then either sell those separately or sell them in sets. I'm working on that idea, but I really like it. So watch this space. Hopefully 2 weeks from now, or maybe even, probably 2 weeks from now, I will be able to tell you more about that idea. Okay, so that's a piece of mending. What else am I knitting? Well, in true me form, after announcing that, yay, I now know how to finish this striped jumper with the V-neck that I talked about last time, I immediately started doing something else. So one was that I saw, I think, a photograph or a little video of Christy Glass Knits in America, where she had knitted a ranunculus top. I'll show you a photograph of it here, in a very thin and ethereal yarn, and I immediately thought, oh, that would be lovely in linen. So I'm thinking of knitting it out of the blush linen yarn. Note to self, start making hanks of the solid colors available for you guys to buy. Working on it. It'll be the same timing as these, so hopefully 2 weeks from now. Would be lovely to do ranunculus in that yarn. So I had a look at the pattern, read about the needle size, thought, okay, I'm going to take some needles with me to the Netherlands. I'm going to start swatching and then decide what needle size I'm going to knit that top in, because of the yarn being thin, of course. Now, the ranunculus is very suitable to knit with a thin yarn, but this thin and very smooth depends a little bit on what you like in terms of the fabric texture, whether you like the end result, which is why I wanted to swatch it. Turned out that the needle sizes that I had taken with me were all too big. I didn't like them. So I'm going to start from scratch and I'm going to start swatching that, and I'll keep you abreast of my progress on the ranunculus. I really like the idea of knitting it in the blush linen, but I may even hold it together with maybe cumulus, for example, fiber space cumulus. I don't know yet. I really like the effect of using both the linen and cumulus together in the little Dumboard scarves that I was promoting a while ago. I'll show you a picture of it here. I love the fact of having the same color but different texture. And I don't know what it would be like to do a ranunculus in a combination of the two yarns held together. So I'll play with that and I'll keep you posted on that. So that was a bit of a stop-start. Now, what else am I working on? Still not the jumper that I know how to proceed with, but when I was in the Netherlands, I picked up a parcel from Javol Rotterdam, a couple of items that I had ordered from Saskia, and I asked her to send them to my parents because I thought it'd be a nice little present to pick up for myself when I get there. And one of the things I ordered, she still had some in stock then, was a double knitted sock blank. You heard me go on about those a while ago when I was knitting one that I had bought from Millie at Tribe Yarns, a Jilly Beans double knitted sock blank, and this is the one that I bought from Saskia at Javol. So the whole sock blank is, just to remind you, is knitted out of 2 threads of 4-ply held together, sock yarn 4-ply held together, so that when you paint and dye it, both strands get colored the same way. And then as you unravel it, you knit. You can either unravel it and wind it in 2 separate balls, and then you have 2 identical balls, or you can knit 2 together socks as you unravel. And that's what I did last time, and I'm doing that again this time. So something that looks like this when it's dyed ends up looking like that when it's knitted. So you get a lot more mixture of the colors. And I think when I saw this, I think I was a little bit homesick, and the idea of the Delft blue tiles, the blue and the white, this appealed to me because it reminded me of the blue and white. And I thought, if I then get the mixture of all the colors in the knitted fabric, I wonder if I get a Delft blue effect. And I am so pleased with how this is knitting up. I'll show you again next time when I've got some more, because these are still cuffs at the moment. I was going to have these socks for myself, but then my husband saw them and said, oh, you haven't knitted socks for me for a while. Well, actually, he's had 3 pairs of socks already this year. One of them, the double knitted sock blank that I knitted for myself, and they came out a bit big, so I gave them to him. And then 2 sets of stripy socks, so he doesn't actually have anything to complain about. But he said, yeah, but I'm losing socks faster than you're making them. Now, he had a point there, because we went through his sock drawer and there was a whole handful of pairs of socks of his that I had knitted for him over the years that really were looking worse for wear. I had darned them a number of times already, and it was getting to a point of, well, this is silly. They're looking so scraggly. It's not just a matter of darning them around the foot, but some shape loss around the ankle, and, we retired some. So he has less hand knitted socks at the moment than what he's been used to for a couple of years, hence the plea. So they're probably going to go to him as well. I'm a sucker. I say yes. He's so sweet. Anyway, so both this and this baggie are both baggies that have been made by Susanna Trava and Wool. You've heard me sing her praises before, and these were bags that I bought from her on the stand at Unravel in February this year, when we still had wool shows. And I also gave her some of the Layercake linens to make bags for me. And some of you may remember that she made 6 bags for me before, which went in the newsletter and sold out within hours of publishing the newsletter. She sent me 6 more. Shall I show them? They are so lush. I'm actually really tempted to keep this one for myself. It's very greedy. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll make it so expensive that nobody will buy it. And then I can still keep it for myself. All right. Look at this. So this is the charcoal linen, completely embroidered all the way around by Susanna in her hand-dyed threads. I think it must be a silk or a silk blend. It's so nice and shiny. Then she puts the name of the flower and she embroiders that on a little patch there. Then the edge of the little baggie, I've put a couple of hanks of yarn in there to fill it up. The edge of the bag is in our beautiful small check, and then the inside is in peacock. I mean, come on. Can you resist this? I think I can't. It is so nice. Anyway, that's the first one, but we have more. Second one. Oh, I'll if I can make it out. Oh yeah, chamomile. This is chamomile, this flower. I was going to say if I can make it out, I'll read out what it says, because they are all the Latin names. This is Capsella bursa pastoris. And this baggie is outside and in the check. Third one, Achillea. Look at that. All the way around in the charcoal with little closing stitches in a contrasting color and then lined in the black gingham. I love the black gingham lining. And with a baggie like this, you can then of course fold over the edge, stand it upright and put your yarn in it when you're knitting. So it's a little yarn bowl as well. They're just fab and they're so precious. Next one is Verbena bonariensis on blue crossweave with a black lining. Then number 5, hyacinthus. Again, all the way around on the small check with again black gingham lining. And then last but not least, the Ami Magus on charcoal with the same lining. No contrast, just charcoal lining. Really neutral, really simple, really minimal. So thank you so much again, Susanna, for these 6 bags. If you go to the website, you'll find them live and you'll be able to order them. And hopefully they're still there when you see this, because they tend to go really fast. But I thought last time I did them in the newsletter, this time I'll put them in the podcast. Good luck all. And when I get new bags from Susanna, she makes them when she can. She has a full-time job and she does this on the side for her own brand Trava and Wool as well as for me. So travaandwool.com, keep an eye on that website as well, because she posts gorgeous bags like this on there, which are her own hand-dyed, over-dyed, rescued fabrics, completely embroidered like this as well. So there's lots of options for you there, but you do have to keep an eye on them because they go really fast. Okay, last bit of news before we dive into Layercake. You are familiar by now with the twisted fade in, I think I messed up the name, guys, on this label. I've called it Flower Garden on the labels. It's not called Flower Garden, it's Cottage Garden. This was the first set that I did of the twisted fades, where they're all the same 3 plies that all my linen yarns are in, but then playing with different colors and gradually changing those colors from one to the next to create barber poled yarns that fade beautifully. 175 grams in a set. This was the one that you've seen before, and there are two new colors. The first one is Columbine, which I chose as a name because it reminded me of the flower Columbine. And you can see that it's a fade that goes from the purple, the mauve color that is in Moth, gradually via ochre to the dark teal on the other side. So that's the second one, Columbine. There are no less than 4 different Layercake fabric colors in here. There is the purple from Moth, there's the pink from the blush, then there's ochre, and there is teal. So this set will go with a lot of different Layercake fabrics. And then last but not least, a set of neutrals called Twisted Fade. A set of neutrals called Driftwood. Twistwood. Sure. If you see, yeah. And that's how they go. They go from a warm neutral via white to a cool neutral. So a warm grey, greenish grey, and then to a neutral grey. And these are all colors that are in a new fabric that you'll be glimpsing in the next section. So let's not wait any longer. Here we go. Have fun watching Layercake. Hello, welcome to another section of Layercake information. I have a lovely new reveal, a lovely new launch for you, but I thought before I move into that, I talk a little bit to you this time about Layercake fit and challenging the concept and the beliefs that you may hold around what is a garment that fits you. And especially talking about how fit does not necessarily mean fitted. The idea behind this is that Layercakes are made in a way that your body is not seen as something that is constant and unchanging. In my case, my weight fluctuates, sometimes rather dramatically depending on my mood, and I want to be able to go wearing the Layercakes that I have. That is why we always recommend that you choose your Layercakes with a couple of inches of positive ease. I will illustrate that further. What I'm wearing at the moment is one of the summer dresses in the summer weight linen. It's medium weight linen rather than the heavier weight that we do for most of our Layercakes that are designed to wear over the top of other garments. So this is a thinner linen. It's still quite substantial. It's around 200 grams per square meter. For those of you who have the limited edition oatmeal duster, that's about 185. So it's very slightly heavier than that. But our regular linen is 245, and that makes quite a substantial difference in the way it wears and feels and how warm it is. So we've got this thinner linen that we use for the step tops and for the summer dresses. I'm wearing the blush dress in a size 2, in a size 2 regular. That's not my regular size. I normally wear a size 1. And over the top, I'll put the lovely long, endless long scarf that is the Suppeler scarf that is part of that very long gradient set that I've recently introduced. Added 2 new colors to it. I think I've spoken about that already. Never mind. I'm getting distracted. Right, so I'm wearing over the top a size 1 mini tabard. And that is to illustrate that even if your Layercakes end up being far too big, before you cut and change them, you can actually combine them with smaller Layercakes so that they can still be worn. So this is a size 1 mini tabard over the top of a size 2 dress. Now if I take that mini tabard off, you'll see how big that dress really is on me. And you can of course argue that this is too big to be worn in the summer with nothing else than a bra or a bralette underneath. So in terms of positive ease, this dress has at least 8 inches of positive ease. So the size 1 has 2 to 3 inches of positive ease on me, 3 I think. So this is another 6 inches wider, so that's 9 inches of positive ease in total. But when I just stand straight like this, can you see how big that dress is on me? Not really. And that's because linen drapes according to your body shape. That's one of the reasons that I love working with it so much. Now what you do get, of course, is you get increased gaping here at the side. The dress already has slightly higher armholes than our other layer cakes. The armholes being big for 2 reasons: to accommodate a large range of different bust sizes and to be able to wear them over the top of other garments. Now this dress of course can still be worn over the top of other garments, but I wanted it to be suitable to be worn by itself in warmer temperatures. Now if this dress fitted you at some point as a size 2 and you lose weight and it becomes too big like this, it can still be worn with something underneath. If you put a little camisole or a little vest underneath, then even if you look all the way through, it doesn't really matter. So you turn it into an overgarment, essentially, but what you wear under it can be relatively small. Sorry, I've got a hair in my mouth. There we are. Relatively small, depending on the temperature. So that's one way of getting around a layer cake garment being too big. Another way is of course to start playing with things like belts and scarves, etc., to cinch it in. If there's a waist where there didn't used to be one, or if this whole area has changed because of your boobs getting smaller, for example, then it can still be worn by cinching it in and wearing something tighter or a smaller size like I did over the top. That will hide a bigger size beautifully, and it won't look strange because they follow each other's lines. That's how they are made. Of course, the next step is to really see it as a overtop and wear more clothes underneath. Long sleeves tops, for example, or even another dress underneath so that you turn it into a proper pinafore. That's a great way to deal with it as well. You can even wear jumpers, etc. Normally, we have the even bigger armholes on the other layer cake to accommodate bigger jumpers. But if the dress is too big on you, then you can automatically put more underneath. And it will not really change your silhouette. It won't really all of a sudden look, oh my gosh, that's so bulky. It won't, because this will keep following the lines of your body like it always has done. It's one of the reasons that we always we always work with wider hems at the bottom, for example. We add weight with big pockets, with wide hems, with big facings, etc., so that the garment always has a way of swinging and hanging that is flowy and that is supple and that just looks lovely. So one thing before I move on to the next garment that I wanted to mention, I've mentioned it before, look at the red bra. If I would be wearing a black bra, you would see it just a tiny bit because of this slightly thinner fabric and that light color. But a red bra, I'm wearing red knickers as well, you don't see them. I could put white on, you will not see red underneath. So for those of you who didn't know this, when you're wearing lingerie and underwear, you can treat red as a neutral. In a lot of cases, red actually works better than what they end up calling skin color. I mean, skin color, how debatable is that? that's only part of us that have that, you know, yucky beigey color that is commonly referred to as skin color. My skin color never matches the skin color of underwear, but red works a treat. You won't see it, and it looks so much more nice on as well than the yucky kind of beige. So, bit of an opinion there. Sorry about that, but go for red. Much safer bet. Excuse the rhyming. Okay, so I'm going to keep this on and team it with a duster. Same thing applies. Just wear something over the top. You can't see that this dress is loose on me. I wouldn't even call it big on me. It's just very loose now. See what I mean with fit and fitted? A fitting garment doesn't have to be a fitted garment. And a lot of us have grown up with the fact that the garment in terms of sizes needs to somehow follow your body. No, it doesn't. The more space you have, the easier it is to move. The easier it is to move, the more comfortable you are in it. It's so much nicer when you sit down and you don't have to think, oh, my tummy, oh, my bum, oh. Just be comfortable in your clothes. Anyway, another rant. Bit ranty today. Maybe it's the hair that brings it out. This is salt spray, by the way. I've got a little bit of a kink in my hair naturally. So rather than using that kink to keep that slightly poofy round look that I have when my hair is shorter, that round look doesn't want to play anymore because my hair is starting to get down to my shoulders. So it's starting to flip because it touches my shoulders. So it's starting to get difficult to keep that shape. This is a salt spray that you put in your wet hair, or you can put it in dry hair if you want to. Then you scrunch up your hair, and then with a blow dry with a diffuser, one of those big cups, you end up pushing that up into your hair, and it emphasizes whatever kink you've got in your hair. Problem is, if it's a little bit humid outside, which it is now, then it looks great when it's just dry, and then the humidity gets to it and it slowly starts sagging. So if I'm playing with it, it's because of my paranoia that it's starting to sag. I'm not used to this hairdo, can you tell? Okay, so back to the dress and the size. The other thing that is a good thing to highlight now is the combination of these colors. There we are. Little mini tabard went quite well, but then you still see quite a lot of pink dress. So in terms of proportions, not ideal in my opinion, because that contrast in strength of color. So I think it would be better balanced to have this dress then, forget about the duster for a second, have this dress and then wear a full length tabard or a smock. You'll still get the pink peeping out in places, but it's not quite as dramatic. Now, it's not that a mini tabard can't be worn with a dress. Of course it can, but it depends on the colors that they are. So if this mini tabard was a color that in terms of strength and intensity was more similar to the blush, then it would be a better match. Then they would balance each other out better. I hope I'm making sense. Anyway, so the softness of this taupey color and the softness of the blush is a perfect combination. You can grab a little accessory to wear with it, like this. This week, I promise I will remember to put the pattern for this, appropriated to knit it in linen with the right needle size, etc., and put it as a little kit with a 25-gram hank of linen on the website. I promise I will do that. I forgot that last time, so I've had lots of inquiries. I'm sorry, I will do better this time. Okay, so lovely little accessory, very nicely color coordinated. I'm normally not this color coordinated. I love playing with color too much. But there we go. Lovely soft colors. I'll show you it with black as well, because it's not like you're stuck with these soft colors. You can go much more bold. Here's a long black one. It's the last long black. And again with the blush. It's lovely, isn't it? They play very nicely together. So what about a stronger colour? I'll put on a dress in a bang colour, and it's a size 1. So then you'll see the difference between this, the size 2, and a size 1. I'll do one more little twirl. So here's the size 2. And here's the size 1. What a colour, right? This is the ochre. What do you think? Now, I think that because I normally wear the size 1 long, if I then wear the size 1 regular, it somehow feels a bit skimpy, and the size 2 regular didn't. So what it didn't have in length, because it was a little bit more roomy around me, I actually felt more comfortable in it. With this, I'm like, yeah, it's all right, but longer would be better. And I didn't have that with the pink. Interesting, isn't it? Of course, this sits completely differently on me because it's a size 1. And the whole idea with the size 1s was, or with all of them, with the dresses, was that the armholes would follow a higher line so you wouldn't see your bra as much. Of course, that changes as the sizes go up. What do you think? I'll put the black duster back on. Now I think this yellow has a tad, just a tad of green in it. And I think that makes it a lot more wearable for a lot of different seasons, a lot more different skin tones. I'm a winter. Winter are notoriously bad at wearing yellow. Winters can't wear yellow. But as far as a yellow can be cool, this is the coolest yellow, apart from acid yellow, but that's really... And this is nice and bright and vibrant and sunflowery. But I can still wear it. I don't look like death with this on. And normally I would expect to, because it's yellow. Let me go back to that other duster to show you how they play together, because it's not the best combination, but it's still pretty good. In fact, I'll put a short one on. See? Calms down the yellow. It's actually quite a lovely combination. It went better than I even thought it would when I saw it on the hanger. And then of course you can play with other accessories. I now keep a whole stack of these at hand so I can throw them on while I'm filming. Look at this. Into autumn we go. And then of course you can then add some baggies to warm it up even more. Not just warm up in colour, but I mean creating a warmer outfit. Baggies, here we come. The sneakiest sneak peek I can come up with. You all know our multi-check. And now the multi-check is going to get a neutral sibling. more to come. We've only just got the fabric. We quickly made this, so I've got something to show you. More to come. We're going as fast as we can. I've got a big reveal of stuff that is literally on the way already. This is the next step after that, so later on in the autumn. First, what's going to come next. However, I just wanted to show you dress, duster, nice knitted accessory to pull the color combination together, and then these baggies, of course, where this color comes back too. Fantastic outfit for autumn, don't you think? And all of a sudden, if it gets warm, you can throw this off again. Of course, you can throw this off as well. You can take everything but the dress off if necessary. Same goes for any little trips that you may have this autumn. The whole layering thing, and what am I going to take, and what am I going to wear? What is if the weather's all of a sudden disappointing? What if all of a sudden it gets better? This look is transformed if I take the other garments off and I just add a simple necklace, for example, or a colourful scarf in my hair. So keep that in mind. Layer cakes are perfect for travel. Any kinks and creases that you get in your luggage, hang them up in the bathroom if necessary to give them a little bit of steam. Hang them up overnight and most of the creases will drop out. So much about the appropriation of different sizes and not giving up on your layer cakes if your size changes. Now, what if it changes in the other direction? Then what? Well, one of my layer cake ladies came up with a really clever idea. We were impressed. She had a smock. If I can find the photograph, I'll actually post it here. She had a smock that didn't fit anymore because her bust had expanded. She probably had expanded all over a little bit, but it was specifically her bust that didn't fit her layer cake anymore. And what she did was she opened the side seam from the top until about an inch or so into the pocket, opened it up, and then with a piece of fabric, she specifically chose a contrasting color, which is a good idea, because to make something like that completely invisible is going to be really hard. So don't try to. It's fine. It'll look great. And so it did. So I think the smock may have been purple, and then she used some black fabric or blue and black, something like that. Anyway, she cut a wedge of fabric, which at the top was probably about 3 inches wide or so, but you make it the width you need for the garment to fit you again. So it went from, say, 3 inches and then gradually down to nothing, ending up with nothing just inside the pocket. And the reason that works so well is that where that wedge goes into nothing, that's your most challenging little point of having to sew 2 seams coming down and then gathering in the middle and going further as one seam. That Y shape is difficult to make very neat. But if you hide it in your pocket, nobody's going to see it. Worked a treat. So you can go both ways. If you have layer cakes and you think, I'm at a loss, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to make it bigger, send me an email, send me pictures with it if you can. Tell me what the problem is, and I'll either hand you a solution, or you can send your layer cake back to us and we will make it bigger. Of course, we'll charge some money for that, but I can advise you of that. It's going to be around like £20, maybe £30, depending on what needs doing. And what you get back is a layer cake that you can wear again. So much for layer cakes that have become too small. And what I'm going to do in one of the next episodes is to take one of the first play suits that Andrea made for me to start wearing. We were still trying them out. They weren't final yet. And it was a piece of red linen that I had here that we weren't going to use for production. It was just enough for one garment. one playsuit in my case, and it was a playsuit of the regular length, so cropped on me. And I've so taken to wearing my playsuits really long, just like these baggies. I love if they really pull down at the bottom, so you really get the swish of these pockets at the bottom when you walk. I love that look. I love the feel. So I haven't been wearing my red playsuit, and what I'm going to do is detach the bottom edge of the pockets, so the pockets kind of flap up a bit. Then I'm going to cut the playsuit in half and put a band of color, a band of fabric that is a different color in between. Sew it together, so the top and the bottom together again, sew the pockets over the top again to integrate them with to integrate that piece of fabric with the rest of the garment, and have a long playsuit. So it's a proper playsuit hack coming up in an episode to come. Same goes for any of the other garments. You can lengthen dresses that way. You can lengthen tabards and smocks. So the whole idea of changing your layer cakes to suit you, to suit your different tastes, your differing tastes, and to suit your differing sizes is something that I'm going to bring in as a recurring subject in future episodes. If you're not into that, let me know. But if you like it, please let me know as well. That kind of feedback is so useful for me. But I love the idea of playing with our layer cakes to make them fit and look perfectly. Right. On now, finally, to the new reveal. I actually already gave it away a little bit in that Instagram message, and then immediately, or Instagram post, immediately got messages saying, okay, we're gonna buy it, I want one. So okay, they're here. Let me show you. Ta-da! Nervous hair flick. Never mind that. Okay. And what do you say? Worn with my playsuit in the black gingham, because I love this color with black gingham. Ochre step top, no raw edges, because you didn't want raw edges, so no raw edges anywhere. Still the opportunity to add here at the bottom a knitted panel if you want it, but sleeves already in. Sleeves like the duster. So this is still a one size fits all garment, all the way to our size 3s, all the way down to our size 0. I'm almost in between a 0 and a 1 now because you've shrunk a little bit. I've tried to be COVID shrunken. No. I've tried to use the opportunity of not going anywhere, not going out, to restrict my diet and lose some weight. I really needed to lose some weight. So I'm doing it. At the moment, I'm drinking wine again. So then it very quickly plateaus out. But if I manage to drop the wine, I'll drop some more weight. So, saying that because I wanted to explain that I'm between a size 0 and a 1. I'm a smallish 1 at the moment. And this fits fine. And it doesn't just fit fine because I'm tall. That's nothing to do with it. We've tried this on different sizes, all the way down to a proper 0 rather than a fake 0. I don't think I'll ever be 0. Anyway. By the way, when I talk about losing weight and being a 0, it's not because I want to be a size 0. What I want is to remain healthy as I get older. I don't want to get diagnosed with diabetes 2 or have problems with my knees and my hips because I'm carrying so much extra weight. That's the background of it. I'm not pursuing some kind of crazy ideal. Just in case you were wondering. Okay. I'm so smitten with it. Of course I am. For goodness sake, I always am. Because what I'm doing with these garments is just realizing my own dreams in terms of clothes And not doing the shows gives me the brain space to work on this stuff and to develop the ideas and to introduce the new shapes. Who would have thought? Good, right? Of course, it can be worn over any kind of layer cake, can be worn with baggies, with high-lows, with the play suit, over a dress. Anything goes really. Over the top of tabards and smocks, it looks good as well because of those different lines. I talked about that in a previous episode already, the different lines at the bottom. This is going to be available in all the different thinner linens that we do. So the black, the blue, the red, the blush. I'm going to show you blush in a minute. The ochre. What am I forgetting? The natural colour, undyed, the white. They're all available. We're making them as you order them. So it'll take between 1 and 2 weeks before you actually have it in house. And the reason we're doing that like that at the moment is because it's only Andrea making them. We can't make things any faster. She's actually making summer dresses at the moment that were ordered a couple of weeks ago. So we're catching up. And we're going as fast as we can. Here's the ochre. Now I'll show you the blush. Look at this. Worn underneath a short duster. I played with that already in a previous episode with a step top without sleeves. This is the step top with sleeves. Goes really well because of course it's got the same size armholes, etc. Look, there it is peeping underneath. Take it off to show the top in all its glory. You like? And because the fabric is not too heavy, the fact that the back panel is longer doesn't really pull it back. I must admit, like once or twice a day, I will adjust this a little bit, but that's more my sense of it rather than it actually moving backwards. It's quite well balanced despite the difference in length. Like I said, it's got the extra flappy inside, so if you want to have the front the same length, you can go to town with knitting a panel, which of course can have texture, it can be lacy, it can be anything you want. It'll be in the same color. Nice idea still, I think. And there'll be more of those kind of ideas in the pipeline as well. But for now, here it is. This step top with sleeves as a pre-order, ready to ship out in the first 2 weeks of September. I hope you love it as much as I do. And I'll see you again soon.